On today's Minute of the Apes, round 2 of the Zoom battle begins.
Exercise with an ape maker, human down. Then talks. There's a divine bound. We are determined to know what the apes want. War or peace. And if it is man's destiny one day to be dominated, then oh please God, let him be dominated by such as you.
Welcome to Minute of the Apes, a daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. Who was that sniffing just right then? Which one of you two? Oh, now they're going to go phantomly. It was Richard. Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Sean, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. We're on to another minute, and everyone forgive me, but this is my battle with how do we continue to produce this in the COVID age with restrictions and trying not to spend money on it. So I will be battling with the lovely people at Zoom for a while, but hey, it's working great. So let's talk about Apes, minute 62. Sean, tell us what's going on.
All right, we're going to start minute 62 with Apes versus flamethrowers, round 1, and ends with humans trapped behind a wall of flames.
All right, let's take a listen to minute 62 of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
As of minute 62, we've got a courtyard's worth of gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, imported apes, Caesar. Okay, we've probably lost some apes in the revolution. Armando still hasn't come back. Oh, man. It's chaos. It's a madhouse.
So in these minutes, because I want to just talk about the ape population because you outline that every time. We begin to see, if you look in the background with these minutes this week, every once in a while you see that kind of mustardy yellow orangutan.
Orangutan, yeah.
Why do you think it is that they didn't allow for more? I know we talked about it before, but why didn't they allow for more of an ape population that included more shots of orangutans? We had the ones in the cage, and every once in a while we get the mustardy yellow outfit and some orange hair, but predominantly it's chimpanzees and gorillas. I wonder why they did that.
I mean, the only thing I can think is the costumes just look so hideous that they had to bury them as much as possible. But then why even put them in there at all?
Right.
Do you think it was a conscious choice that Caesar, who is a chimp, is supposed to be the smart of this, and in the first two films, orangutans were kind of the cultural and authority, and so they didn't want to elites, and they didn't want to put any conflict between those two classes.
Maybe
yet.
So. That's a good idea.
Them, maybe you're saving for something later.
And it's one of those, Richard, that when we get to the new movies, there's an interesting parallel to this conversation that you'll see between what's smart, who the smart ape is, and how he communicates with others. It would have been nice if they'd given a little of that thought here. Just because I do like that class system of all the apes and everything, and so you're very astute to point that out. I just wish they hadn't pushed the orangutans aside by and large. I'm glad to see them here. Hey, there they are. So we know they're a part of this world. But and maybe also, I don't know, are orangutans vicious enough to join an attack, or have we established them so much at the first of the movie as the cerebral leader type that they wouldn't be the ones to lead a revolution? Is it chimps and gorillas are more aggressive in this world?
I mean, it'd be fascinating to find out, to be able to ask Dane that specific question about why orangutans weren't really focused heavily on this, and whether it was a choice of wardrobe and costume, or whether it was actually a conscious choice to not put them culturally into this moment.
Right. Just one of those things that as I started to see that costume, I thought, I wonder if there's any real reason why they didn't do it. So once we get into this is the first place for me that by and large we start seeing a lot of pullover masks again. We start that kind of atrocious, hey, there's the gaping mouth ape, which is a side note. Have you guys seen that on Amazon Prime? There's a wonderful documentary called Making Apes. Have you seen that?
No.
It's about John Chambers and not just John Chambers, but all the makeup team that went along with him on that journey to create the apes, how revolutionary it was, and how his efforts changed makeup and influenced generations to come. It's a wonderful documentary. If you have I think it's about an hour and 40 minutes. It's really worth seeing. The weird thing is that occasionally they cut to a wall of pullover mask, and there's that god-awful looking chimpanzee with almost a round mouth. But sure enough, whenever I'm making my notes, I just watched that, and here they are. But, they've done such a good job with those pullovers of putting them in the background. I guess when you're shooting chaotic moments, it's rather hard to put the cheaply masked people in the background.
And if you notice, this is when you can tell it's a movie, because whenever the guard is shooting flames at the apes, they are so far away back that there's no way he's going to hit them. There's nobody to the left or right. They are all right in front of him,
right,
so that nobody can get hurt whatsoever.
Well, we finally get guy with the vacuum cleaner hosed flamethrower getting attacked by a gorilla, and we see, just as you're saying, it's a pretty cool effect though when he shoots the flame, the camera swish pans on it, and then it cuts to a shot of the apes as a flame burst across them. So it's a pretty good effect of closing that distance. But you're right, in the moments whenever it is a wide shot and we're allowed to see that ape breaking away to go attack him, you can completely tell that they're anywhere near that flame. Obviously, no one wants to get hurt.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. I guess I'm so used to these kind of moments of being in danger, being afraid that everybody's so far away in these movies that I don't really think of it quite so much of a cheated effect as it is just, hey, he's throwing flame, everybody kind of stay back.
Well,
I don't want to get anywhere near that one.
It's kind of funny.
Dane went burning bloody apes, so we didn't get that.
You get a burning human.
It's kind of funny that at this point, this is when the Amazon xray, which is you can watch it with almost like a pop-up video where it gives trivia. But at that very moment where we're talking, and I had only just seen this is the general trivia. Of all the Planet of the Apes films, including the revivals, this one had the smallest production budget. So should tell you, they went for the small stuff. But it's an effective moment. The flame is still, we can bash it all we want, but it's an effective tool that basically says there are weapons of oppression that the humans have. They're greatly outnumbered. We see that one gorilla climbing, jumping down, even though I question the human's peripheral vision is kind of whacked if he doesn't see that ape coming.
Yeah. Well, but this is where you get what you wanted in the previous minute with the guy whipping. At least somebody came around and got him from behind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was afraid of that height that ape was dropping from. Like that is not a I thought he was going to leap off of that and land on top of him. I didn't know he was going to get over there. So he comes down the stairs, goes back up the stairs, comes off that railing. I love that he goes up on 2 feet on the railing like an ape would. And then he kind of just drops down. But it was not a small drop.
Well, to your point, I'm watching that clip, and you're right. That is a very high angle or high level to jump down. Here's what's interesting, and film editing does this crap all the time. We talked about when you do explosions, you'll often show the explosion 3-4 times. He begins his jump at the 9-second mark. He does not land Hang on. Until the 17-second mark. So that jump from that high level took 8 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a weird thing about film when you watch it, how they will extend it for no reason. But we do get the shot of the flame canisters on the wall. Why? That's another thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to do flamethrowers, why would the canisters be mounted on the wall? Wouldn't that just be a big system somewhere else that the flame's coming from?
But that was the room that they were in earlier doing the testing from, right? That's the we're looking at it from a different angle, but that was the room that the canister was there and the bananas were being dangled and there's the big no sign and all of that.
Right.
I love the ape uniforms behind it. I mean, it's such a sparsely populated set that those little features really stand out. The rack of ape uniforms, the no sign, the tanks on the wall, because there's nothing else around. There's no other furniture. A couple of little chained obelisks in the middle of the room, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it's just a room big enough for this kind of chaos.
And it's a wonderful set with all the angles, how cold it feels. It's economically, you did exactly what you needed. You created a training facility. But I got a question. So we get flamethrower guy, and in a shot at about 29 seconds into it, we see something burning on the ground, and the ape's shrieking back from it. This place is all cement. What's burning?
That's just the fuel that the gas that's coming from the tip of the flamethrower.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're going to make an assumption that when he was subdued, it caused some type of fuel leak that led to this kind of small wall of flame that's now preventing the apes and the humans guards from getting around as much.
Well, you can see it. I mean, when the guy gets tackled, the front of the flamethrower hits the ground and just some fuel is still there. And then when he gets up and runs, you can see some on the ground behind him from where he was shooting earlier.
Okay, I'm watching that whole moment, and hang on, because I'm right now in the 8-second jump, so that will take just about 8 seconds.
We'll talk to you tomorrow about it.
Here he's about to be tackled. He is tackled.
And then
the flamethrower shoots up. Yeah, I can buy that. Okay, I'll go along with you on that.
What I didn't understand was after he gets tackled, we go back to Caesar up in the control room, and he seems to have a thought. And that thought leads him away from the control panel out and down into the entry area. And the other apes that are moving about and the chimps that are moving about in the same room suddenly all seem to have the same thought. It was like that weird video where you see those old cartoons where mind control happens and all of a sudden everybody kind of starts moving in unison.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. Like it was just something about like, what just happened? Who's in control? Who's in command? Why are they suddenly all moving around like worker ants? Like, okay, this is it. Let's go. Let's all move out. I needed Caesar to say something on that mic at that moment to rally everybody.
It's a very odd jump and assumption and it's not even Caesar being the one to lead them out. It's not, hey, let's go. It's time. It's whatever he wants to say. They just all go.
They all just do it. Yeah.
The script.
We're supposed to assume, I think,
about that motivation.
No. Well, I mean, I basically told you what that was, right? The apes pour from the main building into darkness, and their forms are grotesque and terrifying.
Yeah.
There's no real. We're supposed to get a sense that the, smashing glass booth and scattering assailants and swung shackles. We're supposed to assume that this battle is won, and they're leaving, but it just looks like they just all kind of in unison decided to take off.
Well, they did a lot of training.
It's
synchronized swimming.
I mean, it's not good or bad. There's just.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad. It's just very much like we're all now pouring out of the command center.
Well, I became kind of interested, I think, last week with the whole making sure I watch these minutes, not just minute at a time, make my notes, but watch the total 5-minute running time. And the sequence does play pretty well when you're just watching as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's whenever then when you start again hitting those things of why did they do that you start thinking that's odd. Of course, once you determine those, why did they do that, you can't ever unsee why did they do that. Yeah. But I'm also questioning. Back to my phantom flames that you guys thankfully have explained where they come from. We get apes jumping through, and eventually we will see humans